I thought I was bringing soup. That's what mothers do, right? We show up unannounced with homemade chicken noodle soup in a thermos, convinced our grown children still need us. It was a Tuesday afternoon in November, cold gray, the kind of New York day that seeps into your bones. I'd been calling Marcus all morning. No answer. That wasn't like him. So I made the soup. His favorite. The one with the tiny carrots and the egg noodles, not the fat ones. I drove 45 minutes from Queens to his place in Brooklyn, rehearsing my excuse for showing up without warning. I was in the neighborhood. I made too much. You know your mother worries. But when I got to his apartment, the lights were off. His car was gone. His neighbor, Mrs. Chen, sweet woman, saw me standing there with my thermos, like an idiot. "Oh, honey," she said, her face going soft with that look people give you right before they deliver bad news. "You don't know the ambulance came this morning. Around 7. Marcus collapsed at his desk. They took him to Mount Sinai. The thermos slipped. I caught it. Barely. What? Where's Naomi, my daughter-in-law? His wife of 3 years.
Mrs. Chen just shook her head.
She wasn't here. Just the paramedics. I don't remember the drive to the hospital. I don't remember parking. I just remember my heels clicking on those sterile white floors, too loud, too fast, my heart hammering in my throat. When I found him 5th floor, ICU room 517. I stopped breathing. My son. My Marcus. 31 years old, 6'2", the boy who used to carry me on his shoulders, who laughed too loud at terrible jokes, who called me every Sunday without fail that Marcus was lying in a hospital bed so pale he looked gray. Tubes everywhere. Machines beeping. An oxygen mask covering half his face. And he was alone. No one else in that room. No Naomi. No in-laws. No friends. Just my baby boy fighting for every breath while strangers in scrubs checked his vitals and whispered to each other in medical code I couldn't understand. I ran to his bedside, grabbed his hand. It was cold. Marcus, baby, it's Mom. I'm here. I'm right here. Nothing. Not even a flutter of his eyelids. A nurse appeared beside me, young, kind eyes, the kind that have seen too much suffering. Are you family? I'm his mother.
My voice cracked on that last word.
She nodded, made a note on her tablet. He collapsed at work this morning. Sudden cardiac episode. They're running tests, but she paused, choosing her words carefully. It's serious. He's stable for now, but we need to monitor him closely. Where's his wife? I heard myself ask. Naomi. His wife. Did someone call her? The nurse glanced at her tablet again. Hesitated. We've been trying. She's not answering. Something cold slid down my spine. What do you mean? She's not answering. Her husband is in the ICU. Her husband almost died. Ma'am, we can only call the emergency contacts listed. We've left 3 messages. Let me see.
I moved closer to her tablet before I could think about whether I had the right.
And there it was. The emergency contact list. 2 names. Primary Naomi Bennett, secondary Richard and Sharon Bennett. My name wasn't there. I stared at that screen, at those names, my daughter-in-law and her parents, and felt the ground tilt beneath me. 6 months ago, I was Marcus's emergency contact. I'd been his emergency contact his entire life.
When he broke his arm at 12.
When he had his appendix out at 19.
When he got that nasty flu 2 years ago and Naomi was out of town.
I was the one who sat with him. I was the one he called. And now I was erased. Ma'am, the nurse was watching me carefully. Are you okay? I wasn't okay. But I nodded anyway, because that's what you do when your world is quietly falling apart in a hospital room that smells like disinfectant and dying flowers.
Keep trying, Naomi. I heard myself say, my voice eerily calm.
And his in-laws, they should be here. The nurse left. I pulled a chair close to Marcus's bed and held his hand the way I used to when he was small and afraid of thunderstorms. 20 minutes passed. 30. The machines beeped their steady rhythm. A doctor came in, older man, silver hair, exhausted eyes, and explained things I couldn't fully process. Heart failure. Stress-induced. Treatable, but serious. He'd need surgery. He'd need rest. He'd need time. And still no Naomi. I sat there watching my son's chest rise and fall and felt something crack open inside me. Not just worry. Not just fear. Rage. Because I knew.
In that moment, sitting in that sterile room with my dying son's cold hand in mine, I knew.
Something was very, very wrong. At 3:47 p.m., my phone buzzed.
A text from Naomi.
Got your voicemails. In the Hamptons with my parents. Can't leave right now. Keep me posted. I read it twice. 3 times. Can't leave right now. Her husband was in the ICU.
And she couldn't leave the Hamptons.
I looked at Marcus, my beautiful boy fighting for every breath, and I thought about the woman he married. The woman he trusted. The woman who removed me from his emergency contacts and replaced me with people who apparently couldn't be bothered to show up when he needed them most. And I realized something. This wasn't an accident. This was a pattern I'd been too polite, too accommodating, too nice to see. But I was seeing it now. I kissed Marcus's forehead, still so cold, and whispered, "Don't worry, baby. Mama's here. And Mama's gonna find out what the hell is going on." The machines beeped. And somewhere in the Hamptons, my daughter-in-law was living her best life. But not for long. The beeping of the monitor beside Marcus's bed, steady, mechanical, relentless sounds exactly like the old sewing machine I used to run in our basement apartment in Astoria. Beep. 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 Late nights. After my shift at the diner ended, after Marcus was asleep, that's when I'd pull out the Singer my mother left me and take in alterations for the dry cleaner on Steinway Street. Hems. Zipper replacements. Taking in waistbands. 50 cents here, $2 there. I can still feel the fabric under my fingertips. The way my eyes would blur after the 3rd hour. How my back would ache from hunching over that tiny machine in our kitchen because the light was better there. Marcus was 7 when his father died. Heart attack. No warning. One day, Robert was kissing me goodbye on his way to the construction site in Manhattan, and 12 hours later, I was identifying his body at Bellevue. After that, it was just us. Me and my boy. I worked the morning shift at the diner, 6 to 2, scrambling eggs and pouring coffee for truckers and taxi drivers who tipped in quarters. Then I'd pick Marcus up from PS 122, help him with homework at a corner booth while I prepped for dinner service, then work 4 to close. $10 an hour plus tips. We made it work. I remember packing his lunches every single morning. Turkey and cheese on wheat bread, his favorite, cut diagonally because he said it tasted better that way. A juice box. Carrot sticks. And always a note on a napkin. Love you, baby. Make today great. Mom, he kept every single one. I found them years later in a shoebox under his bed when he left for college. 217 napkins, my handwriting fading on some of them, carefully preserved like they were treasure. I worked every holiday, every birthday, every summer. When Marcus made the basketball team in 8th grade, I picked up weekend shifts so I could afford his sneakers, the good ones, the Jordans all the other kids had. I wore the same winter coat for 11 years. I never went to the salon. I cut my own hair in the bathroom mirror and told myself it looked fine. But Marcus had everything he needed. When he got into NYU, my boy at NYU, I cashed out what was left of Robert's life insurance and my entire retirement savings. $43,000. Every penny I had. "Mom, you don't have to do this," he said, sitting at our kitchen table with the acceptance letter in his hands, looking at me like I'd just given him the world. "Baby," I told him, cupping his face the way I used to when he was small, "you are my retirement plan. You go make something of yourself. That's all I need." He cried. My strong, beautiful boy cried and held me, and I thought, this is why I did it all. 4 years later, he graduated with honors, got a job at a tech startup in Brooklyn, started making real money, the kind of money I'd never seen in my life. He bought me a new coat that first Christmas, tried to give me a check for $10,000. I wouldn't take it. "You keep that," I said. "Build your life. Find a good woman. Be happy." And then he met Naomi. God, she was beautiful. Tall, polished, with that kind of effortless elegance I'd only seen in magazines. She worked in marketing, wore designer clothes, spoke 3 languages.
When Marcus brought her to meet me, she kissed both my cheeks and called me Mama B and told me my pot roast was the best thing she'd ever tasted.
I wanted to love her. I tried to love her. She seemed perfect for him, confident where he was humble, ambitious, where he was content, worldly, where he was grounded.
At their wedding, she cried during her vows and told Marcus she'd love him forever, and I believed her.
I thought, finally, my boy has someone to take care of him, someone who'll love him the way he deserves. But there were little things.
Small things, I told myself, didn't matter.
The way she'd check her phone when I was talking, how she never asked about my life, my work, my day.
The time she suggested so sweetly, so gently, that maybe I shouldn't drop by their apartment unannounced because Marcus needs boundaries now that he's married.
I stepped back. I gave them space. I told myself this was normal, that grown children need independence, that I was being an overbearing mother. And sitting here now, holding my unconscious son's hand in this cold hospital room, I realize what I should have seen all along. I protected Marcus from everything: poverty, loss, fear, hunger. I worked myself to the bone to give him a good life, but I never imagined the danger would come from inside his own home. If you've ever given everything to someone who later turned away, you'll understand this part. If you've ever loved so hard you forgot to protect yourself, you know this feeling the moment you realize your sacrifice was used against you. Thank you to everyone who helps keep these stories alive. Every word you share, every act of kindness matters, especially for those of us who still believe family means something.
The monitor beeps.
Marcus's hand is still cold in mine. And somewhere, my daughter-in-law still hasn't called back. But I'm not leaving this room. Not until I understand what's really happening. Not until I know why the woman my son married can't be bothered to show up when he's fighting for his life. Not until I find out the truth. His phone won't stop buzzing. Marcus's phone, sitting on the metal tray beside his hospital bed, lights up again and again like a tiny alarm screaming into the silence. I've been staring at it for 20 minutes, watching notification after notification slide across the screen. Payment declined. Payment declined. Luxury resort transaction failed.
My hands are shaking when I pick it up.
I tell myself I'm looking for Naomi's number. That I'm just trying to reach her to tell her to get here now that her husband might die, and she needs to stop whatever the hell she's doing in the Hamptons, but that's not what I find. The screen is unlocked. Face ID must have registered him earlier before he lost consciousness. And right there, in plain sight, is their joint banking app. I shouldn't look, but I do. The balance makes me dizzy: $247.32. Marcus makes $90,000 a year. Last I knew, they had over $30,000 in savings. I know because he told me 6 months ago, proud, excited, talking about maybe buying a house in Park Slope. I scroll. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it over the machines. Bergdorf Goodman, $3 200. The Mark Hotel, $1 850. Balthazar, $340. Tiffany and Company, $4 100. The Ritz-Carlton South Beach, $2 600. The list goes on. And on. And on. Dozens of charges. Hundreds of transactions. Thousands of dollars. All in the last 3 months.
All under Naomi's name.
I keep scrolling, my thumb moving faster now, my breath coming short and sharp. Kyle Brennan Venmo, $500. Kyle Brennan Venmo, $800. Kyle Brennan Venmo, $1 200. Who the hell is Kyle Brennan? I open Instagram.
Naomi's profile is public, perfectly curated photos of her life, her outfits, her brunches.
I scroll down, and there it is. A photo from 2 days ago.
Naomi in a white bikini on a pristine beach, champagne glass in hand, sunset blazing behind her.
She's laughing, her head thrown back, radiant. And beside her, with his arm around her waist, tan, smirking, shirtless, is a man I've never seen before. The caption, sometimes you just need to disconnect and recharge. Self-care beach vibes, tagged location, Pelican Bay Resort, Naples, Florida. Not the Hamptons. Florida. I stare at that photo until my vision blurs. My son is dying 10 feet away from me, tubes in his throat, and his wife is in Florida, drinking champagne with some guy named Kyle. Mrs. Monroe, I jump. The doctor from earlier is standing in the doorway, Dr. Patel, I think his name was. He's holding a clipboard, his expression careful, clinical.
Yes, my voice sounds far away.
I wanted to go over a few things with you regarding Marcus's care and his paperwork. He steps inside, closing the door softly behind him. There are some decisions that may need to be made depending on how he responds to treatment. Normally, we'd discuss this with the primary next of kin, but since his wife isn't available, she's in Florida, I hear myself say, flat. Cold. Dr. Patel blinks. I'm sorry, his wife. Naomi. She's not in the Hamptons. She's at a resort in Florida. With another man. Drinking champagne. While my son fights for his life. The words hang in the air like smoke. Dr. Patel clears his throat. Looks down at his clipboard. I see. Well, in that case, there's something else you should know. He pauses, choosing his words carefully.
When we admitted Marcus, we pulled his insurance information.
Standard procedure. And I noticed that his life insurance beneficiary was recently changed. The room tilts.
Changed 3 weeks ago.
The primary beneficiary is now listed as Naomi Monroe.
The secondary was removed entirely.
He looks at me with those tired, knowing eyes. Ma'am, were you aware of that? I can't breathe. I think about Marcus's apartment. The lights off, no one home. I think about Mrs. Chen saying the ambulance came at 7 in the morning. I think about the hospital telling me they'd been trying to reach Naomi for hours. 18 hours. My son was alone for 18 hours before I got here. And his wife, the woman who changed his life insurance, who drained his bank account, who's currently on a beach with some stranger, couldn't be bothered to answer her phone. Dr. Patel leaves. I sit back down beside Marcus's bed. Pick up my phone.
Dial Naomi's number.
She answers on the 4th ring. Brianna, hi. Her voice is bright, breathless, like she's just come back from a run. I got your messages. How's Marcus doing? I close my eyes. Where are you, Naomi? What I told you. I'm at a wellness retreat in Connecticut. We're not supposed to use our phones. It's a whole digital detox thing, but I snuck away to call you back. You're lying. Silence. I'm looking at your Instagram right now, I say quietly. Naples, Florida.
2 days ago.
You and Kyle. So I'll ask you again, where are you? The line goes dead. She hung up on me. I sit there in the fluorescent light, holding my unconscious son's hand, staring at the phone in my lap. And something inside me, something that's been bending and bending for years, finally snaps. If you've ever trusted someone so deeply that their betrayal made you question your own worth, you're not alone. If you've ever given everything only to watch someone take and take until there's nothing left, I see you. Thank you to everyone who helps me tell these stories. Your support keeps this space alive for those who still believe that truth somehow will always find its way. I kiss Marcus's forehead, and I start making plans. The waiting room smells like burnt coffee and disinfectant. I've been sitting in this plastic chair for 6 hours now, maybe 7, I've lost track. The clock on the wall ticks too loud each second, a small violence. Outside rain hammers against the windows and sheets, turning the city into a blur of gray and black. I haven't eaten, haven't slept, haven't moved except to use the bathroom once, and even then, I practically ran back, terrified Marcus would wake up and I wouldn't be there. But he hasn't woken up. The nurses change shifts. New faces, same sympathetic glances. They bring me water in a paper cup that I don't drink. They tell me visiting hours are technically over, but I can stay as long as I need. One of them, the young one with kind eyes, squeezes my shoulder as she passes. I want to thank her, but my throat won't work.
Around midnight, 2 nurses stand near the vending machines, their voices low but not low enough.
Room 517, the cardiac case. Yeah. Wife still hasn't shown up. Not even a phone call. Jesus. What kind of person I know? And that's his mother in there. Been sitting with him all day. Poor woman. Poor woman. I stare at the rain and feel something crack inside my chest. Poor woman. That's what I've become. The mother who didn't know her son was dying. The mother who was erased from emergency contact forms. The mother sitting alone in a hospital waiting room at midnight because no one else came. I pull out my phone. Scroll through my messages with Marcus from the past 6 months. They're all from me.
Hi, baby, just checking in.
Love you. His responses are polite, brief, distant. Thanks, Mom. Busy week, talk soon. Naomi and I have plans, maybe next month. When did it happen? When did my boy, the one who used to call me every Sunday, who'd show up at my apartment unannounced just to have dinner, when did he become the stranger who only texted back out of obligation? I remember last Thanksgiving. Naomi insisted they host at their place. It's time Marcus learned to create his own traditions, Mama B. You understand. I showed up with my green bean casserole, the one Marcus loved, the one his grandmother made, the one we'd had every Thanksgiving since he was born.
Naomi took one look at it and smiled that perfect smile.
Oh, Brianna. We're doing a much lighter, more modern menu this year. Farm to table, you know, but that's so sweet of you. She put it in the fridge. We never ate it. I sat at their dining table, the one I'd helped Marcus pick out at West Elm, the one I'd lent him $2,000 to buy, and watched Naomi's parents hold court. Her father told stories about their summer house in East Hampton. Her mother critiqued the wine. Naomi laughed and sparkled and barely looked at me. When I tried to tell a story about Marcus as a child, Naomi interrupted.
We're trying not to embarrass him with baby stories tonight. She winked, but her eyes were cold.
Marcus said nothing. I left before dessert, claiming I had a headache.
No one asked me to stay.
I close my eyes now and see all of it. Every moment I told myself I was being sensitive, that I was imagining things, that I needed to give them space.
The time Naomi suggested I call before visiting because we value our privacy.
The time she rolled her eyes when I mentioned church and said something about old-fashioned values not really fitting their lifestyle. The time Marcus missed my birthday because Naomi had planned a surprise trip to Vermont and forgot to check with me first. Each small cut, each tiny rejection, each moment I swallowed my hurt and smiled and said, It's fine. I understand. I reach into my purse and pull out the photo I always carry Marcus, at age 5, gap-toothed and grinning, holding up a drawing he'd made of our family. 2 stick figures, him and me. He'd colored my dress, purple, my favorite color. "That's us, Mama," he'd said, so proud. Forever and ever. Forever and ever. He used to run to me when he scraped his knee when he had nightmares, when kids at school were mean. He used to cry in my arms and let me hold him until the world felt safe again. And now I didn't even know he'd collapsed. Now I wasn't even on his emergency contact list. The waiting room is so quiet I can hear my own breathing. The rain has slowed to a steady drizzle. Somewhere down the hall a machine beeps. A door closes. Life continues indifferent to my breaking. If you've ever sat in a room so quiet it started to echo your thoughts, you'll understand this silence. The kind that doesn't comfort, it accuses. It asks questions you don't want to answer. Thank you to those who help keep these stories alive. Your kindness helps give voice to people who've been forgotten, who sit alone in their pain, waiting to be seen again. I look at the photo of my little boy, and I don't know who I'm mourning, the child he was, or the man I've lost him to. But I know this, I'm still his mother. And mothers don't give up, even when they're alone in the dark, even when no one else is coming. At 2:47 a.m., a woman in a navy blazer approaches me in the waiting room. "Mrs. Monroe, I'm Linda Chen, hospital billing."
She sits down carefully, clipboard in hand.
"I'm so sorry to bother you at a time like this, but there's an issue with your son's insurance coverage we need to discuss." I look at her. My eyes feel like sandpaper. "His primary card was declined," she says gently. "And when we ran his secondary, well, it appears his credit cards are maxed out. All 3 of them. About $42,000 in debt."
She pauses.
"Were you aware of his financial situation?" Something clicks in my chest. Not my heart. Something deeper. "No," I hear myself say. "I wasn't."
She leaves me with paperwork I can't focus on.
But I can't stop thinking Marcus made $90,000 a year. How does someone making that much money end up with maxed out credit cards and $200 in their checking account? The answer walks into the ICU at 6 a.m. His name is David.
28, rumpled suit, carrying a laptop bag. He sees me and stops cold.
"Mrs. Monroe, I'm David Chen. I work with Marcus." His eyes are red. "I just heard. Is he's stable?" David sinks into the chair beside me. "Thank God." Jesus. I knew something was wrong. He's been exhausted for months, falling asleep at his desk, missing deadlines. That's not Marcus. Did he say why? David looks at me, hesitates. "Tell me," I say quietly. He said Naomi wanted him to take out a bigger life insurance policy. $1 million. He didn't want to, said it was too expensive, but she kept pushing. Told him it was responsible planning. He runs his hand through his hair. And last week he told me he thought she was seeing someone. Some guy from her yoga studio, but he said he didn't want to believe it. That maybe he was just being paranoid because of work stress. The machines beep. I stand up. "Where are you going?" David asks. "To get the truth." Marcus and Naomi's apartment is dark when I let myself in. I still have the spare key he gave me 2 years ago, before Naomi started locking me out of his life. I don't turn on the lights. I know what I'm looking for. The desk in their bedroom. Naomi's office space where she works from home. I find the papers in the bottom drawer hidden under yoga magazines. Life insurance documents. Marcus's signature. $1 million. Beneficiary Naomi Bennett Monroe. Date changed 3 weeks ago. Bank statements. Joint account zeroed out. Marcus's savings gone. transferred to an account I don't recognize. Credit card bills. $43,000. Charges Marcus would never make jewelry stores, hotels, flights to Miami, Naples, Charleston. And then tucked between folders, I find her phone bill. Hundreds of calls. All to one number. At all hours. Late nights. Early mornings. I dial it. A man answers. Sleepy. Irritated. Babe, it's 6 in the morning. This isn't Naomi, I say. My voice is ice. This is her husband's mother. Who the hell are you? Silence. Kyle, I press. That's your name, isn't it? Click. I sit in the dark of my son's bedroom and I see it all now. Every piece. Every lie. The exhaustion. The debt. The insurance change. The distance. This wasn't neglect. This was a plan. If you've ever found truth in the quiet moments after pain, you know what this part feels like when rage becomes clarity, when betrayal becomes evidence. Thank you to everyone who supports these stories. Your kindness keeps hope alive for people still finding their voice after betrayal. I take photos of everything. And I wait for sunrise. Because Naomi's about to learn something about mothers. We don't just love our children. We protect them, even from their own mistakes. There comes a point when silence stops meaning defeat. It becomes preparation. I sit in Marcus's apartment as dawn breaks over Brooklyn, my phone in one hand, a cold cup of coffee in the other. The evidence is spread across the dining table: bank statements, insurance documents, screenshots, receipts.
Everything Naomi thought she'd hidden.
Everything that will bury her. I don't feel angry anymore. Anger is hot, chaotic, uncontrolled.
What I feel now is colder, sharper.
It's the quiet math of self-respect calculated in spreadsheets and legal documents instead of tears. My first call is to Chase Bank at 8 a.m.
Yes, I need to freeze a joint account.
My son is in the ICU and there's been unauthorized activity. I give them the account number, Marcus's social security number, my identification as his mother, and medical proxy now that he's incapacitated. We'll need documentation, ma'am. I have his power of attorney for medical decisions. His wife has been draining the account while he's unconscious. I'm protecting his assets. There's a pause. Keyboard clicks. Account frozen as of 8/14/A. No further transactions can be processed without in-person verification and updated authorization. I hang up and make a note, step 1 complete. My second call is to Marisol. Marisol Gutierrez. We worked together at the diner 20 years ago. She left to join NYPD, retired last year as a detective. We've stayed close. She answers on the second ring. Brianna, you okay? It's early. I need your help. My voice doesn't shake. My son is in the hospital. His wife has been stealing from him, possibly planning something worse. I have evidence, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Silence. Then I'm on my way. She arrives at 9 with coffee, a legal pad, and the sharp eyes of someone who spent 30 years reading people's worst intentions. We spread everything out. Jesus, she mutters, scanning the bank statements. $43,000 in 3 months, and she changed the life insurance beneficiary 3 weeks ago. She looks up at me. Brianna, this isn't just theft. This is premeditated. I finish. She nods slowly, pulls out her phone. I know a lawyer. Family law, but she's handled fraud cases. Let me call her. By noon, I'm sitting in the office of Jennifer Castellano, Esquire, in a building near Union Square. She's 50, sharp suit, sharper eyes. She listens without interrupting while I walk her through everything.
When I finish, she leans back in her chair.
Do you want to press charges? I want to protect my son. That's not what I asked. I look at her. What would you do? She smiles, not warm but satisfied. I'd let her come home. Let her think everything's fine. Then I'd serve her with a forensic audit, a restraining order, and a lawsuit for financial elder abuse and fraud. All at once. In public, if possible. He's not elderly, doesn't matter. He's incapacitated, she has power of attorney, and she's actively stealing from him while he's unconscious.
That's exploitation of a vulnerable person.
The DA will love this case. She slides a contract across the desk. I'll need a retainer. $5,000. I write the check from my own account, the one I've been saving in for 10 years, the one I was going to use to finally take a real vacation. It's the best money I've ever spent. I clean Marcus's apartment that afternoon. Not because it's dirty, because I need to move to do something with my hands while my mind works. I wash dishes, fold laundry,
Water the plants Naomi has let die.
and I wait. My phone rings 17 times, all from Naomi's number. I don't answer. Each ignored call is a tiny victory, a small reclamation of power.
She leaves voicemails.
The first few are sweet, concerned. Brianna, I'm so sorry I couldn't get there faster. How's Marcus? Please call me. By the 10th message, her voice has edges. Brianna, I need you to call me back. There's been a problem with our bank account. It's frozen. I can't access anything. By the 15th, she's unraveling. What the hell did you do? You have no right. Marcus is my husband. You can't just call me back. RIGHTNOW. I sit on the couch, drink my coffee, and smile. It's funny how silence can sound like thunder when guilt starts to echo. That evening, Jennifer emails me. Subject: Bennett Monroe case. Next steps: Brianna, forensic accountant, is reviewing documents. Expect preliminary report by Friday. I've drafted the restraining order and civil suit. We can file Monday morning. One more thing: does Marcus have any written communication from Naomi about the life insurance change, texts, emails, anything? If she pressured him in writing, that strengthens our case considerably. JC, I think about David's words. She kept pushing. Told him it was responsible planning. I open Marcus's laptop. I know his password. He gave it to me years ago for emergencies. His email loads, and there it is. A thread from 6 weeks ago. Naomi, babe, I really think we need to increase your life insurance. What if something happens? I'd be left with nothing. Marcus, we have savings. And I'm healthy. Seems excessive. Naomi, it's not excessive. It's smart. Everyone our age does this. Unless you don't care what happens to me if you die, Marcus. That's not fair. Naomi, just do it, Marcus. For me, please. I screenshot everything. Forward it to Jennifer. Her response comes in 2 minutes, perfect. See you Monday 9 a.m. Courthouse. I close the laptop, look out the window at the Brooklyn skyline gold in the evening light. For years I mistook generosity for love, silence for peace, accommodation for kindness. Today I'm learning something new. They taught me that love meant giving. Now I'm teaching myself that love can also mean stopping. My phone buzzes. Another call from Naomi. I silence it. And for the first time in years, I don't need them to hear me. My silence has already spoken. She walks in like she owns the place. Naomi designer coat, oversized sunglasses, rolling a small suitcase behind her. She's tanned. Her hair is perfect. She smells like expensive perfume and lies. Oh my God, Brianna. She rushes toward me, arms open for a hug. I step back.
She freezes.
Blinks.
Lowers her arms, slowly.
I came as soon as I could. The retreat had no cell service. I swear I didn't know you weren't at a retreat.
Her smile falters.
Just for a second. What you were in Naples. At the Pelican Bay Resort. With Kyle. The color drains from her face. Marisol steps out from the hallway,
Shield clipped to her belt.
arms crossed. Who is this? Naomi's voice goes high, panicked. Marisol Gutierrez, retired NYPD. Friend of the family. Marisol's voice is flat, professional. Sit down, Mrs. Monroe. I don't have to. Jennifer Castellano emerges from the kitchen, briefcase in hand. Actually, you do. I'm M's. Monroe's attorney. We have some questions. Naomi looks between us.
Her perfect composure is cracking.
This is insane. Marcus is in the hospital, and you're what ambushing me.
Say quietly.
Something in my voice makes her obey. Jennifer opens her briefcase, pulls out a folder, lays it on the coffee table. Let's start with your trip. She slides a photo across. Naomi on the beach. Kyle's arm around her waist. Naples, Florida. November 18 through 24. The same week your husband collapsed at work and nearly died. That was a work trip. Another photo. Naomi and Kyle kissing by a pool. Silence. Bank records. Jennifer places a stack of statements down. $43,000 withdrawn from your joint account over 3 months. Designer purchases. Hotel stays. Transfers to an account under your maiden name.
Naomi's hands are shaking.
Life insurance documents. Another paper. Beneficiary changed from Marcus's mother to you. $1 million. 3 weeks before his collapse. He agreed to that, did he? Jennifer pulls out printed emails. Marcus's words seems excessive. I'm healthy. Naomi's response, unless you don't care what happens to me if you die. I watch her face.
Watch the mask crack and splinter.
And finally,
Jennifer presses play on her phone.
Naomi's voice crystal clear. Once everything settles, we'll be free, Kyle.
just a little more patience. The recording ends. The apartment is silent except for the sound of Naomi's breathing, sharp, shallow, desperate. A knock at the door. Dr. Patel stands in the doorway, clipboard in hand. Mrs. Monroe, your husband is awake. He's asking for his mother. He looks at me, and he wants to know why his wife never came. Naomi's face crumbles. I stand, look down at her. This woman who smiled at my table, who called me Mama B, who slowly, carefully, methodically cut me out of my son's life so she could drain him dry. You didn't expect me to show up that day, I say quietly. But I did. And I saw everything. She tries to stand. Marisol's hand on her shoulder keeps her down. Fraud charges are being filed Monday morning, Jennifer says. Financial exploitation of a vulnerable person. Insurance fraud. And if the DA wants to push attempted manslaughter through gross negligence, I never. Naomi's crying now. Real tears, finally. But not from remorse. From fear. You left him to die, I say. My voice doesn't shake. You changed his insurance. Drained his accounts. And you stayed on a beach drinking champagne while he fought for his life alone. I pick up my purse. But he wasn't alone. Because I showed up. And I always will. I walk to the door. Marisol and Jennifer follow. Behind us, Naomi's sobs echo through the apartment. But I don't look back. Justice doesn't need my tears. It just needed the truth. After the verdict, silence became my favorite sound. It was the sound of justice finally breathing. They arrested Naomi on a Tuesday morning. Not dramatically, no sirens, no handcuffs in public.
Just two detectives in plain clothes who knocked on the door of her parents' brownstone in Park Slope and asked her to come downtown for questioning.
By Wednesday, the charges were public record, wire fraud, identity theft, financial exploitation of a vulnerable person, insurance fraud. By Friday, her face was on the local news. Brooklyn woman accused of draining husband's accounts while he fought for life in ICU. I didn't watch. I didn't need to.